Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Bellator Heavyweight Ryan Martinez. Ryan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Ryan, Pro Elite, what exactly happened with them? Are they out of business? Have they told anything to you or your management?
Dude, I can't really speak on that. As far as I know, they're still an organization trying to throw a fight. The only thing that bothered me about the whole situation is I was expecting to finish the tournament. That way I can, sign with a bigger organization, and it just seemed that they couldn't finish the finals of the Grand Prix, and it just bummed me out because I've been sitting for almost 6 months now with no fight and no clue on what to do.
Was there any signs that there was going to be a problem maybe on the last show that you fought at? Because that was their last event that they did.
The only sign I could see was they didn't promote it very well, and that there was hardly any spectators at the venue, man.
What did you do during the time off that you've had?
I concentrated on a lot of boxing. I just, it's hard to get motivated and stay motivated to train without a date set for your fighting. So I rolled, jiu-jitsu, focused on a lot of boxing, and then I caught the pertussis cough that was going around here in Colorado, so I was out for a few weeks with the whooping cough, that was going around here. So, in a way, it was kind of a blessing. They didn't throw a fight right away, but then again, it sucks because, as a fighter, you count on that money.
During this time off, how have you been able to support yourself? Because if you don't fight, you don't get paid.
I work at a gym at 4 in the morning, so I usually work from 4 to 10 every morning, and then I would do little, side jobs with my dad and whatnot just to, make ends meet. But thank God my lady makes a lot of money.
Now, the signing with Bellator, how did this all come together?
Oh, my God, it was a blessing in disguise, man. Pro Elite had originally agreed to let me fight in a show that they would, how do I say it? They agreed to let me fight in a show that they agreed on. So, a bunch of opportunities came to me to fight locally, but the local shows down here, they don't want to pay you what you're making in the big show.
Right.
And I had fired my other manager from Phantom Management and hired Mike Kogan, and Mike, he's a real aggressive go-getter type, and he was like, listen, man, I got Bellator, they're interested in him. Can we fight Bellator? And then they were like, no, you cannot fight Bellator. And Bellator didn't want to sign me without a multiple fight agreement. So, Mike kind of worked his magic and bulldog him into releasing me.
Is this an exclusive deal to Bellator, or could you still, hey, we don't have anything for you right now, go fight somewhere else? Is that still a possibility?
I'm not too sure, dude. I think I found an exclusive deal with Bellator. I know I fight August 24th, so that's to get into the tournament from what I'm assuming. I'm not quite sure.
Are you a big fan of the tournament format? Because you just got out of a tournament, so, you have to be kind of excited about that format, right?
The way I see it, man, is everything's a tournament. You can just think of the UFC as a big old, 32-man tournament. You got to beat so-and-so to get to the next level, to get to the next level, to get to the contender, to get to the championship. So, either way, I just look at it as being the same. The pay progresses, the fights progress, and everything gets harder, man.
It looks like a good deal for you because if you win this tournament, that's 3 fights. You'll be fighting all the time. You'll be very active, and at the end you'll win $100,000 if you win the whole tournament, and then you get a title shot. It's a more fast process than if you were in the UFC and working your way up to a title shot. Because there's guys who fought 5-6 times and are nowhere near a title shot.
It's cool. Bellator's a big step up in competition for me, the way I see it, and more exposure. So, everything's a learning experience, and I'm just taking it as it comes.
Are you disappointed that you didn't get to finish out that Pro Elite Grand Prix? Because, that would have been a good thing to put on your resume. That, it was a good tournament to get, eyeballs on you. Any disappointment there, or are you just looking forward to this next step?
I'm disappointed, a little bit, but, I just think of it as a blessing because Bellator picked me up, and Bellator is one of my favorite organizations, to tell you the truth. Everybody's hungry, ready to scrap, and everybody's trying to get, to the next level, whatever that is after Bellator. I see Bellator as the B organization under the UFC.
Any word on who you might be fighting in August?
It's to be announced as of right now, but I know they signed Brett Rogers and they signed, numerous other heavyweights. So, it's just going to be a great learning experience for me, and whoever they put in front of me, I'm going to be ready for.
Anybody in particular you might have your eye on?
Not right now. I just, I'll fight anybody. I really don't care who it is.
The Mark Ellis fight. He was a guy who, a lot of people had predicted he was going to win that entire Grand Prix. You came in there and defeated him. Is that the biggest win of your career and best performance of your career?
My pro elite performances were pretty weak, to tell you the truth. Usually, I just go out there and handle business. But the thing about it with the pro elite, the Grand Prix, is I had to be smart because, they start your pay low as it is. And the only way you make more money is to advance to the next round. So, with that being said, you have to fight more cautious, but, with the intent to win. Now, Bellator, it's the biggest step in my career, so every fight's going to be exciting for me. I have nothing to prove to anybody. I just got to go in there and handle mine and hopefully make it to the finals of the heavyweight tournament. Ryan,
you're in Bellator now. You got this fight, what seems to be a tournament qualifier. What are you going to be doing training-wise? Because you're right now, there's an opponent that you may or may not know. What does training look like right now?
Training is going to be the same as it always is. I train boxing with my coach, Jacob Sanchez. I train jiu-jitsu with my coach, Adam Martinez, who is also my head coach with Hoist Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and Team Infinite MMA. And, I'm just going to keep continuing to do what I do. There's nothing these guys can do to me that I haven't been training for already. I mean, I've been wrestling since the time I was 8 years old. I've won numerous national championships, world championships, state championships, and freestyle Greco, collegiate, ensemble. So it's just, I feel right now I'm almost at the prime of my training. Everything's finally coming together and transitioning into one another to where I'm a complete MMA fighter, whether it goes stand up or to the ground. I'm going to be ready for whoever tries to do anything with me.
So many times I hear on the internet and all over the place that a guy like Daniel Cormier, who's kind of in the similar build as you, a lot of people say, he should go down to 205 pounds. Has anyone ever talked to you about doing that? Because you're a little bit heavier than him, but is that a possibility?
I doubt it.
Right.
I mean, if I could, maybe, if I was floating around the 230 area, of course I would make the drop, but I've been a heavyweight my whole life. I wasn't 180 pounds in high school or 180 pounds in college, that just blew up. I was a heavyweight my whole life. When I was 12 years old, I weighed 120 pounds. When I was a senior in high school, I wrestled heavyweights. When I was a junior in high school, I wrestled heavyweights. Sophomore, freshman, I was a heavyweight. So, just to go down to 205, it would be a lot on me. Plus, I got 20-inch arms, so that's a lot of muscle mass I'm going to have to cut.
Right. How much of a disadvantage is it for your height, or do you find it as an advantage with your height being 5'11"?
Sometimes it's an advantage, sometimes it's a disadvantage. I do a lot of fast twitch muscle fiber movements, a lot of plyos in my strength training, and I just make sure my conditioning's there. So us smaller guys that have a build like that, like Daniel Cormier, he's explosive as shit, and it's just, he comes from a wrestling background and the way we've trained all our lives. So explosion is the key for us. If we can get inside, we're going to dominate, and that's plain and simple. As far as the bigger guys, the only thing we got to look out for is, them trying to keep us outside.
The things that you've said, some articles I've seen online, it feels like you're really excited about this Bellator deal. Signing with Bellator, is it something that you see as a long-term thing, or is your eventual goal to make it to the UFC? Because we've seen a lot of guys who come into Bellator, build themselves up, and then bounce.
Yeah, I mean, Bellator is the perfect opportunity for me. I feel it's the perfect next step in my career, if it's long-term or if it's just, for the tournament or what. I'm ecstatic, man. The day I heard that they wanted to sign me, I was on a natural high all day. My lady kept asking me, what's wrong with you? I'm just like, I'm just trying to let everything sink in, because here we were depressed, just waiting to hear from Pro Elite on when my next fight was or when we're gonna finish, and then all of a sudden my manager's like, check your inbox, sign it, and get back to me. It's like, what? Don't be messing with me, man. And he's like, do it. So I opened my email, and the contract from Bellator is there, and then, you know, I went and shared the news with my coaches and teammates, and we all feel that it's a great step in my career, and as far as recognition of what else goes, and just that hope more of my teammates can make it onto the show, too.
Ryan, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
My sponsors right now, they change every fight, but there's three main ones that I would like to thank right now, and that's Future Legend, and I'd like to thank Lubna Auto, Color Auto, and I'd like to thank Performance MMA and Max Muscle. You know, they're always stepping up and taking care of me when I need to. Knock 'em Out Fight Gear, you know, they made my signature shirt, and check them out, www.knockemout.com. And then to my fans, you know, thanks for staying with me, and I'm excited to show you what I can do in Bellator.
Ryan, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it.
Right on. Thank you, man.